All right, hopefully we are live. I believe we are live. So this is Chinese Wrestling Sit Down, where we sit down with wrestlers and personalities within and out of China who has been a huge part of the Chinese pro wrestling scene. And we get a more in-depth look into who they are and their unique stories that made them a prime candidate as our focus of Chinese Wrestling Sit Down. I am your host, Leung, and we are back with another interview and very special interview. I almost didn't recognize you. We have Voodoo. How are you doing, Voodoo?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I am good, aka Greg, right? So
yeah.
What's going on? You're not wearing your mask. You're unmasked.
No,
normally
I'm
people
unmasked.
and during matches and not interviews. What's going on? Where's your mask?
My mask, it's in China now. So I'm in England. I'm not supposed to be in England. I'm supposed to be in China. But this crazy thing happened called Corona. Don't know if you heard of that.
the beer or just
yeah, the beer just started attacking people.
COVID-19 technically, but
COVID-19, yeah.
So how did you?
Yeah.
I guess I'm going kind of reverse. But how did you end up back in England? Like, were you during this time?
I was on holiday when Corona happened. So my job told me at the time, it was like at the height of the pandemic in China. So my job just said, don't come back.
Don't come back.
Don't come back yet. They said, come back later. And later, I'm still waiting for later. It's not come yet.
A lot of travel bans right now. So we're all kind of waiting for later.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Because I see wrestling's like happening again in China. I see my friends doing shows, and I'm so like, I want to jump in. There's no shows in England now. So yeah, I got to get back. I got to find a way in.
Is there any word on when shows will be back in England?
Not really, but things are opening up quickly. So we'll see. If there's a second spike, I guess that'll postpone it further. So we'll see what happens. I really don't know.
All right, nice. So I asked you how you end up in England. So how did you end up in China?
China. I lived in Hong Kong as a student. So when I studied, I found Ho Ho Lun.
Our last week's guest.
Yeah. It was a good interview. You did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
I messaged him. In fact, it's a funny story, actually. My tag partner at the time, he just messaged me, and he'd just seen Ho Ho Lun on Facebook. He didn't know anything about him. He just saw that he looked Chinese. So he knew I was in Hong Kong, so he just said, hey, this guy looks Chinese. Why don't you message him? It's very, very random. And then I messaged him, and it's Ho Ho Lun. So he told me to come to their training and work there for a bit. And then, China's just the next step from there. Then I just went to China.
Wow, so you went all the way, flew down just to train with Ho Ho.
Oh, sorry, I was in Hong Kong. I was studying in Hong Kong, and then and then this guy said, "Hey, message this guy looks Chinese. Message him." So I did. And it happened to be the most important person in Hong Kong wrestling.
Second. Oh yeah, so just to let everybody know, thank you for watching live here on Facebook, MKW's Facebook and YouTube. So are there any comments and questions for Mr. Greg Voodoo? Oh, here we go.
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. The charity. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What is the best part of your holiday so far?
What was the best? So I just came off a holiday with the Mad Dog in Tunisia. So maybe he's talking about that holiday. The best part. I don't think Mad Dog would want me to indulge in the best part of that holiday. He probably doesn't want me maybe talking about that. So a funny question for the Mad Dog to ask.
Well, he asked you. Maybe he wants you to expose his secrets, Mad Dog's secrets. What happened during that trip?
Maybe. Maybe he wants to get it off his chest, but he wants me to do it. No, he's a crazy guy. I love that guy. And a hard worker too. Works hard.
He's a wrestler, I assume, or
yeah, he's a wrestler. The Mad Dog.
All right. Alan asks, have you met all those wrestlers on your wall? I see, believe the late Howard Finkel there, and then some other people I can't really tell.
Yeah, Sunny's there. I've met Sunny. I met her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I met her, and she didn't look like Sunny anymore, so I didn't believe it was Sunny when I met her. I asked, actually, so Sunny came in with the promoter of the show, and I shook the promoter's hand, and I said, oh, okay, when's Sunny coming? I want to meet her. She's gonna be great. And the promoter's like, okay, this is Sunny. I'm like, no. It's not. And then like 2 minutes later, I'm like, fuck, what have I done?
That is awkward. Luckily, I got to see her actually back in when she was popular. Yeah, I didn't meet her, but it was like for some sort of like press conference, and then I saw her. Like, oh, yeah. Wow, Sunny. I hid from her after that. I didn't speak to her again. I think I was like public enemy number 1. So I just hid in a corner somewhere in shame. You could have saved it. You could have been like Sunny somebody else. I meant Tammy. Like, I knew you were Tammy, but a dude named Sunny. That's how you could have saved it.
Yeah. I think I didn't know her name was Tammy though, so I don't know if that would have worked.
You call yourself a fan. You got a picture up there. You should know.
This is my brother's home, so these are my pictures. So yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that you got trained by Ho, and then were you trained as a wrestler before it, or just like that's how you started, or?
Yeah, I trained in I was like 6 or 7 years into wrestling when I went to Hong Kong. So yeah, I trained with them a bit. At that time I was more experienced than Ho Lun. Ho Lun he'd just done 1 tour in England at that time, so he'd not done very much at all. So actually they were really happy to have me there and help out with things and work on the shows, because they were very green at the time. It was their first show, actually, their first big show. But when the time I got there, so they put me in the main event at that. So I think they appreciated having someone with a bit more experience around.
So that's how you started with HKWF. But how did you transition that to working in the rest of China, or just China?
Yeah, so I came back. Ho Lun, it was a few years after that. Ho Lun messaged me and asked me. He said that this guy he's putting together this wrestling tour that would be in Chongqing, and he said we'd wrestle like 3 or 4 times a day. So I went there. I went with, the first time I did that, I went with Sam Gradwell, just the 2 of us. And there were some Spanish boys too. And that was a crazy time. The guy who was running it, we called him Drunken Boss. He had an alcohol problem, I think. We never saw him sober. He's just always drank all the time, and just a crazy, crazy guy. He sort of sounded like a James Bond villain the way he spoke. You'd ask him a question like, "How many people are going to be at the show tomorrow?" And he'd be like, 1 million people. We're like, what are you talking about? There's not going to be 1 million people there. And then there'd be like 60 people there.
That sounded more like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers.
Yeah. He sounded like Dr. Evil. Yeah.
Dr. Evil.
Crazy guy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, he kept bringing us back. I don't know what his goal was. I don't know if he was like. There was a lot of different rumors about him, like that he might have been lending money off like gangsters or triads or something to fund this wrestling, and then like the gangsters would be like coming after him, so he'd go in hiding, and then we just sort of be stranded in China with no shows. And yeah, crazy guy. I heard that he died now, but
Oh, really?
all the lads who worked for this promotion were all a little bit skeptical that maybe he faked his death so that he could hide from the triads or something like that.
Just to get away.
Yeah, everything around that whole experience is really crazy.
It's quite.
It was a good experience. Like the third time we did it, they brought over some really good talent. They brought like Zach Gibson came over, and Pete Dunne, and Sam Gradwell again, CJ Banks. Like I was so lucky to be there with them. It was really good.
Oh, quite a crop of talent there. So
yeah,
Adrian,
definitely.
Yeah. So Adrian, MKW owner, says that you might have worked the most matches in China as a foreigner. Do you think that's true?
I don't know. He told me that also when he asked me to do the interview. He said I'd done the most matches. I'd never really thought about it until then, but yeah, it definitely might be true. I think if it's not true, it must be between me and Buffa. Buffa's I know he's done a lot of matches because he's done a lot of these tours where they do like 4 matches a day for like 2 or 3 weeks. So that gets your number really high. So yeah, it's probably between me or him.
Yeah, we got to get a proper count between you and Buffa. So if you were to, you probably don't count the matches, but how many matches do you think you've wrestled in China?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe nearly 100. Maybe I'm not sure.
100. Wow.
Yeah.
Triple digits.
Maybe.
That is pretty high.
Yeah, I think so. There's just so many. Like, there's a wrestling promotion, WLW, and they do these big tours where they'll set the ring up in a mall and they'll do 4 shows in that mall in one day. And then if you do that for 7 days, like, I'm no good at maths. I don't know what that is. But yeah, it like your numbers just shoot up doing the WLW shows.
Yeah, that's quite a bit for a week.
And you got to wrestle careful on those shows. 4 times a day can get pretty tough. Like your 4th match, you're bumping and you're feeling every bump in that match.
How are the rings there? Is it like for that promotion?
It's not a bad ring.
Harder, or?
Pretty standard. WLW's is pretty standard, I'd say. Not too bad. Yeah. There's definitely some rings I definitely wouldn't want to do 4 matches
4
a day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the older rings might be a bit harder, but
oh yeah, definitely.
So
I know. Like when a lot of rings, when like wrestling just started getting popular in the UK, they use a boxing ring.
Yeah,
because they couldn't you couldn't just buy a wrestling ring because it wasn't popular enough. So a lot of promoters, they just got a boxing ring. I think Big Sam, I think he told me he trained in a boxing ring, or at least a harder ring.
Yeah, those are rough. All right, thank you for leaving the comments. Let's take a look at see if there's any more questions for Voodoo. Unmasked. Let's see. Ozcat asks, do you love cats? Do you want to hug them all? My cat's not here today. He ran off, so.
Yeah, you should have brought your cat. Yeah, this is the secret identity of Mr. Cat.
Oh, is it?
My arch enemy. If anyone wants to stalk him on Facebook and give him hell, yeah, this is Mr. Cat. So yeah, I had a big rival with Mr. Cat, and this is the quote from the song. I don't know if you ever remember the video. I love cats. I love every kind of cat. It was like a viral thing. So I made my own theme music but I changed it all to I hate cats, and it was I hate cats. I hate every kind of cat. It was a very silly entrance music.
Oh, yeah. You have to send it to me.
A very silly storyline as well. Like, I don't know. It was never really explained why I hated cats. Just hated them.
So tell us more about Mr. Cat wrestling and who is Mr. Cat?
Well, here's Mr. Cat. He's a giant cat who wrestles and is the president, I guess, of Mr. Cat's Wrestling in Warrington, which is that's a promotion myself and Mr. Cat set up to have some wrestling that's like really fun. Like I think a lot of people take wrestling super serious. So a lot of guys when they come and wrestle for us at Mr. Cat's, they say they really like working there because we're really fun. There's not as much pressure, and yeah, I think the wrestlers having fun seeps through, and then the fans also like have a lot of fun as well. So yeah, he runs that with me.
So speaking of fun wrestling and fun wrestlers, you worked with the infamous Ladybeard in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Any stories and memories from that?
Ladybeard, he's like my favorite person. He's a really funny guy. Again, probably he wouldn't want me divulging in too many stories. He's a bit of a troublemaker. But yeah, he's probably wouldn't want me to go into too many things. We'd go out, cause trouble a lot, drinking LKF. You're from Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, like LKF.
Yeah, not quite long. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd go out there a lot. I saw him in Australia as well, and I think that's one of my proudest matches with him in Australia because the wrestling promotion never did anything silly at all, like nothing remotely silly. And me and him wanted to have this just ridiculous match where it was like I was in a suit and he was wearing a dress, and we were basically just fighting over that. Like, why are you wearing a dress? Why are you wearing a suit to wrestle? And they were like really against it, but they said they'd give us a chance. And then after it, like everyone really enjoyed it. Everyone came up and said, yeah, you were right. And like, there's nothing better than that, I think, in wrestling or in anything, like when you prove people wrong. That's a good feeling.
But was that match like a tuxedo evening gown type match, or was it just regular match?
No, it wasn't. I think if we had a sequel, it should definitely be that a tuxedo versus take the dress off match. But they're a bit frowned upon now. I had a wrestler who I wanted to have a tuxedo match with in England, and he wouldn't do it. He said he didn't agree with it. So yeah, I guess the climate's changing. A lot of things you used to be able to do, if you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Plus, a suit probably costs quite a bit now. So.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I don't know if a promotion wants to pay for that. So why do you focus on comedy wrestling?
Well, I love it. I personally love it. So there's loads of reasons. That's one reason. I love comedy wrestling. I love Santino Marella. I think he's so funny. I'm gutted that he's gone. I love a lot of stuff like this. I love a lot of stuff from Shikara. I love a lot of stuff that Ladybeard does. There used to be a really funny wrestler in the UK called Madman Manson, and like every time he'd have the most entertaining match. Like there'd be guys who went out there and did incredible things. Like they'd jump off the top rope and do like 40 flips. But then at the end, people were talking about like Madman Manson's match because it was so funny. And like all the clips online were of his match. So that's like one big reason. But a lot of it as well is like, I think wrestling's a variety show, and you've got to look at the card and look at what's missing from that show. And then like find your spot on it. And it's just something a lot of people look down on it. So they don't want to do it. They think it's like beneath them or something like that. So yeah, there's always a comedy spot on every show. You'll always find your place with that.
Where do you find your comedic ideas from?
Anywhere.
Where did the toothbrush from in Cam Ferguson's ass? Where did that come from?
Oh, the toothbrush.
For example.
that came from. So I don't know if you ever seen a film called Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
I get them mixed up. There's Dirty Grandpa and Bad Grandpa.
That's
One
Bad
of
Grandpa
them.
with Johnny Knoxville, I think.
Yeah. Dirty Grandpa. It's De Niro
And
and
Zac Efron, right? I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in that film, he's like, he just keeps putting his thumb up people's butt, De Niro, and he keeps saying Jabba.
Yeah.
So we just thought that was really funny, me and my friends. So we'd all go around doing it all the time, and then we'd go out on nights out and do it to random people. So then we just thought like that would be funny in a ring, like so it's like the shattered dreams, like the shattered dreams they're facing you, but then I thought maybe you turn them the other way around, and then they're tied up in the corner, so they can't get out, and then you give them the jabber.
Well, that's
yeah.
You can't do that now with social distancing, that's for sure.
Oh no, I'd have corona all over my thumb.
You gotta put on a glove first now. You gotta put on
yeah. Or use a toothbrush. Maybe I could cure them of corona if I use a toothbrush. So then it just came to like, because you need to escalate things in wrestling. So I was doing it with my thumb, and then it's like, okay, what else can I do? Okay, I'll use a toothbrush, and then it's a Christmas tree at Christmas. So I don't know what's going up next. Like, I think Cam Ferguson probably doesn't want to work with me anymore because he probably knows there's something big coming his way that's going up his ass.
Something big coming up, coming up from down there. Yeah, I never would have.
Do you have any ideas? What could I put up there?
I don't know. Maybe
what's the next level from Christmas tree?
I don't know. If it's in China, maybe you should do something like Chinese. I don't know, like a durian.
Yeah. Oh God, durian fruit.
Durian.
Man, every time I see a durian fruit, I just think about wrestling. Like I'm thinking, there's got to be a way of using that in wrestling. But then it's like they're legit, really spiky and dangerous. So I don't know how you would do that without killing somebody. But there's got to be a way of using it.
Well, all you have to do is open it up, and then the fans might go.
Make them smell it. That would be so funny. Except I hate the smell of durian, probably worse than my opponent would. So I'd probably throw up like soon as it was open. I don't think the fans would appreciate that either.
Yeah, maybe like 1 out of 20 people would like it, but it's probably not a good idea. Yeah, I don't like it personally myself. So how does the
it's so bad. I tasted it once in Hong Kong. So bad. No, I tasted it twice. They have it in Indonesia. They have an ice cream flavor. Durian. It's really bad.
Yeah, they have it in some dessert places in Hong Kong and probably China.
That's where I tried it. Yeah.
So how does the comedy? How does comedy wrestling go over in China? Is it receptive or?
It really varies. It varies wildly. Like I've done some shows where I've just looked like a complete idiot, like just stone face Chinese people with no emotion whatsoever. That's given me some very embarrassing moments. But then other times, like it's the loudest thing on the show, like because like especially on a show where you've got like 7 matches or 8 matches, and like every match is serious other than mine. Like you see that a lot in China, like everyone taking it super, super serious. And then I just think it's like something really different when I come out and then do something silly. So a lot of the time they'll be the loudest during my match, but it varies wildly. There's so many different shows that you do in China as well. So you do like mall shows where the fans, they don't know what wrestling is. They've probably never seen wrestling in their life. So like it could go over well with them because they can recognize a lot of the silly stuff I do, but they can't recognize what's happening with wrestling. So sometimes those shows, the comedy goes better. But every show is different.
For sure. So thank you everybody for watching live. Let's see if there's any more questions for Voodoo. Alan asks, what's the most mental craziest spot you've done in a wrestling match?
I think that award probably needs to go to, I think it was a year ago in Hong Kong. we did a ridiculous, it was like it was 2 days of shows. So we had the story build, and we'd done this. I brought my father's ashes out. I said my father's died, and I brought his ashes out on the first night, and we'd done this whole silly thing where I pour the ashes on me to get more power. But then the second night, I came out, and everyone thinks I'm doing the same joke again. So I bring my ashes out and say I brought my father, dedicate my match to my father, and all this. And then in the middle of the match, I hold the urn up and say, by the power of Voodoo Senior. And then we turn the lights so it's completely black. And then the lights come back on, and Voodoo Senior has come back to life and just comes in, and he destroys everybody. And the crowd was going nuts because I think because we'd set it up on the first night, and everyone was just like, okay, yeah, I know this joke, same joke. And nobody expected that Voodoo Senior was coming out.
Where do you get the ashes from? I'm afraid to ask.
I think it was flour, which is not the right texture for ashes. So if anybody was like watching who knows a lot about dead people's ashes, I guess they probably knew that was not really my father.
Well, you could use cat litter next time.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about pouring cat litter all over me.
Well, like not the used one, right? Like, fresh one. All right, Chairman Al. Chairman Al asks, oh my God, is this really voodoo?
Yeah, this is, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I do other characters as well in wrestling, so it's not the first time people have seen my face in wrestling.
How long does your voodoo makeup take? This is a mask, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mask, but I wear makeup underneath. I think it doesn't quite look right without the makeup underneath.
You like black out the eyes?
I think a lot of guys do that. Like, and Batman does that, of course. Batman puts makeup underneath his mask. But then when he gets to the Batcave, he doesn't have makeup under the mask. When he takes it off, it doesn't make any sense.
But Jane was asking, how long does it take?
Not too long, because it doesn't need to be neat and tidy. It's just big panda eyes. So not long at all. I could do it in like 5 or 6 minutes. Just douse it all on.
Bob O'Kane, will Voodoo Senior ever return?
That is a good question. That's a good question.
Rise from the ashes.
More than likely, he will be back. I'd say very high chance that Voodoo Senior is going to be back. Yeah, there's I really like jokes with like family members because I think families are awkward, and I think you can get a lot of comedy from awkwardness. So yeah, more than likely I'll be going back to that well.
Okay. Bobo asks, if you could feud with anyone in SEA, who would it be?
What is SEA? In the sea?
Sure. In the sea. I thought it was a promotion of some sort, but
SEA, Southeast Asia Wrestling.
Southeast Asia.
I never heard anyone acronymize that. I don't know why people need to make an acronym of everything. I lived my life so confused. Feud, that's a good question. That's something I've been thinking about a lot, actually, who I'd like to feud with, because I'm in and out of China a lot. I have a lot of matches that are just like not a feud, it's just like a one-off match. And I actually really, really would like to have a feud with somebody and do like a long program. I think that'd be so fun. But there's so many people I'd want to do it with. There's so many good wrestlers now over there. I'd love to do something with Trey. I think I did one comedy match with him in KOPW, and he's really funny.
Uncle Money, right?
Whoever you chose, Uncle Money, sorry, yeah. Whoever you chose, like, I think everybody in MKW is quite serious, but I think they've all got the potential to be funny, and I think people really like that. They like when they see somebody who they know is serious do something like out of their element. So there's so many good people. Big Sam as well. I've done bits of comedy with him in KOPW and on like mall shows, and he is really, really funny. So I would love to do something with him again, and then like show people this side of them. I'd love to do something with Zombie Dragon as well. And then maybe like I'd love to do something with, switch that around. So like everyone's used to seeing me do comedy. I'd like to do something a bit more serious with Zombie, and then people can see a different side of me as well. So that works both ways. I'm trying to think who I've not worked with a ton. So many people, so many. I'd love to work with Ladybeard again. If he could come over, or if I could do a show in Japan. People from Singapore as well. I love working with Andrew Tang, and there's a ton of people in Singapore too.
There you go, Adrian. If you're watching, I'm sure he is. Giving him some ideas there.
Yeah, bring over Ladybeard.
All right. Any more questions? I'm actually not controlling the comments this time.
All right.
I'm an assistant. Any more questions? Let's see, because we're wrapping this up. So let's see. Chairman Al, do you want a stable T-shirt? I think you need.
I'm going to say something controversial. I'm not a fan of the stable. I'm a fan of the stable, but I'm not a big fan of the T-shirt. I'd like to see a new stable T-shirt. How long have they had this T-shirt now? Like
maybe
like
a year and a half,
5 years or something. I think it's time for a new one. That's not the knuckle dusters. I'm not a big fan of that. I'd like to see a new one. Maybe with their faces, all the faces of the stable. I'd like that.
Rohan asks, is there a Son of Voodoo? Oh, giving you ideas here. Son of Voodoo.
I've done a Son of Voodoo before, yeah. We did I used to do camp shows in the UK. That's like the holiday camps where people go camping and they have live wrestling as the entertainment. So we try all sorts of crazy different things there. And they sometimes bring like a trainee on who didn't have gear. So I just gave them some gear and give them one of my masks, because I got like 4 or 5 masks. And we just say, okay, that you're the Son of Voodoo now. So yeah, sometimes we'd just have a random faction where it'd be like Voodoo Senior, Voodoo, and Voodoo Junior. So yeah, that's definitely, we did a lot of funny stuff with that. So definitely it could happen again. But who to play Voodoo's son though? That's the question.
Yeah, you have 4 masks, but you didn't bring them to the UK.
I didn't bring one. You know what? I nearly did. I should have brought it. I was like, everywhere I go, I always like, I see my mask. I'm like, should I take it? Should I take it? But I thought, no, this is strictly a holiday. I ain't going on some crazy wrestling adventure. And then
always bring your gear, man. That's like the golden rule.
Yeah. No matter where you're going.
Yeah, I could film some promos in the UK.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the reasons I thought, should I take it? I could film something, but no, I decided not to.
Rohan's comment: Voodoo Senior, clap, clap, clap. I'm not gonna clap here, but
yeah, people liked Voodoo Senior.
Yeah. Alan asks, is there anywhere in the world you want to wrestle? I guess the place that you haven't wrestled yet, I guess, or want
definitely the US. Definitely, I really want to wrestle there. I'm making a bit of a plan to actually. I want to go there and spend maybe like 3 months in the US. So maybe next year in the summer. So if anyone's watching from the US, add me on
please book
something.
Yeah, book Greg here. That's a good time to maybe plug your social media here.
Probably the best place to catch me is on our Instagram for our wrestling promotion, Mr. Katz Wrestling. I don't think there's any underscore. If you search Mr. Katz Wrestling on Instagram, you'll find us. My personal Instagram, you can follow that. It's World Famous Cat Photographer. There's no wrestling there though. It's just cats.
Oh, it's just cats. Might be right for me then.
If you like cats, follow World Famous Cat Photographer on Instagram. If you don't like cats, definitely don't follow that. There's nothing else.
And oh yeah, I was gonna mention our MKW social media here, but yeah, follow us on MKW Twitter, MKW Wrestling, of course Facebook, Instagram, MKW China, and YouTube is Middle Kingdom Wrestling. And of course, if you like me, please follow me on Twitter at Leung. And now our next question from Mad Dog again. If you owned a nightclub, how would you get people in? It's a very random question.
How would you get people in? I don't understand. Through the door?
How to get more people in the club?
Mad Dog's someone I'd work. I didn't mention Mad Dog before. I should mention. I'd love to do a program with him. He's a really funny, cool guy. How would I get people in a nightclub though? I don't know. Through the door.
Maybe you got to dress up as Carmella or something. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, it means like to entice them, I guess.
Yeah, to get them in.
Oh, no, I took it very literally, this question.
Push them in the door. No, not like that.
Entice them, yeah, maybe. So yeah, I do a cross-dressing character. Some people are into that. Whatever floats their boat. Maybe we could get people in with that.
All right, we're wrapping up here. So if there's any more questions, please ask away. What's your best memories of working with MKW so far?
So many. I really love this show we did, the Christmas show. I can't remember the name of the show. Christmas Fury or something like that. And we had a big Christmas match where we had Christmas weapons. That was really, really fun. I shoved the Christmas tree up the teacher's butt, and we had presents banging on people's heads. That was so fun. I was dressed as a Christmas elf. It was really fun. We had a ladder match that was super fun as well, because I'd never been in a ladder match before. That's like ticked off the list, something I wanted to do. It was a shame there was the bag fell in the first like 3 minutes, which was very annoying, but it was still a good memory. So many. I love doing like a lot of their little shows because I love all the guys at MKW. They're all it's like a little family unit. It's a really good team of people. I think MKW actually is probably the closest like unit of people I've wrestled for. It's like a family because it's usually the same guys. So I love those guys. So the little shows, we can really have fun and do crazy stuff. I did a show, there was a tag match with Sam. That's one of my favorite memories, where I was in a dress and he ended up spanking me and putting me over his knee. So that was really super funny. Yeah.
All right. Are there any more questions here? Okay. Alan asks, have you got any good Sam Gradwell stories? I got mixed up. So many, but like so many other people I've already mentioned, probably wouldn't want me to divulge too much into Sam Gradwell stories. He was in Chongqing with me, and crazy guy. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a story I could tell that's not too extreme. Yeah, crazy guy. Yeah. All right, cannot divulge. So next question, Martin asks, would you do an intergender match when a champion is a woman?
When the champion is a woman, so I fight for her belt. Does it mean?
I don't know. I guess it's an intergender match, I believe, but I don't see why not.
I did the intergender match with Tyra, the one you. I tell you what, that match, I feel like you saved that match a lot. I really got to commend your commentary on the match because it was me versus Tyra, and I think the audience wasn't super into that match. They just, for whatever reason, sometimes the comedy doesn't click with people. And that was like a perfect example of the comedy. They just wasn't for them. but like your commentary is so funny. I don't know if you watched the match beforehand and like wrote down funny lines, or you were just coming up with them as you were going. But it was really, really funny. Like that match it like takes it much higher because your commentary is so funny on it.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, I do a lot of edits, so it's like sometimes I go back and add some stuff in, type of thing. So it's usually not one go. So another question
It's
here.
really good, yeah.
Thank you very much. From YouTube, finally something from YouTube. A16 Adam Walker, isn't a son of Voodoo a Voodoo child? Starts playing
That's a
Jimi
good
Hendrix.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hollywood Hogan's theme.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is an excellent point. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal it.
There you go.
I don't think it's copyrighted, is it? Voodoo Child.
No, you probably get
Yeah.
a flag on YouTube for sure, I think. Yeah. Chairman Al asks, "Are you a fan of Careless Whisper?"
Careless Whisper, the most beautiful wrestler to ever step in an MKW ring. I'm wondering why was Careless Whisper considered? So MKW had the female tournament coming up that was cancelled due to the corona, sadly. Was Careless Whisper considered for this tournament? That's what I want to know.
That's a question to ask Adrian. James mentions and toothbrushes.
And
Probably from previous.
From Cam Ferguson. I don't know if to this day whether he's ever used a toothbrush. I don't know.
Not up the ass, hopefully. Okay, James asks, if you were a woman, could you beat Chairman Al with one hand?
I'd love to see. That's a rival I'd like to see. Careless Whisper versus Chairman Al. Chairman Al versus Careless Whisper. I'd like to see that.
Book it.
With one hand, though, I don't know. I think maybe they're on a level playing field if Careless Whisper has both hands. So I don't know.
There you go. Give Adrian some ideas. All right, I believe we're wrapping up. So I'm going to announce, technically it is next week's guest, but it's actually in a special time, so it won't be a Thursday. So next week, June 15th, very special guest. It's special always, right? But very special guest, David Marquez from, you guys know him mostly from NWA Power, NWA promotion, but he's known for so many more things, championship wrestling from Hollywood, Arizona, working in Disney, working in television for many, many years. Recently, well, not recently, but like a few years ago, NWA was in China and he was a part of it. So we're going to ask him a few questions from there. David Marquez is going to be, since I'm in Vancouver and he's in LA, it's actually going to be June 15th, 7:30 p.m. And that's going to be one Beijing time, I believe is June 16th, 10:30 a.m. All right, I'm not doing very good in this time zone conversion, but just stay tuned for MKW's Facebook and YouTube, and there will be like a time there, and that'll be more proper, better than me announcing it. But it will be 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, June 15th. David Marquez, our next guest, and then I'll be taking a bit of a break afterwards. So make sure you guys check that out. I want to thank you so much to Greg Voodoo here for joining us here for Chinese Wrestling Sit Down. If there's no more questions, I'm just going to ask, well, obviously, Adrian wanted me to ask you, will you return to China when this pandemic is over? Obviously.
Definitely, yeah. Can't keep me away. Soon as they got a ban now on people entering. As soon as that's lifted, I'll be there. I got to get back in the ring. People are wrestling without me, and it makes me sad.
Got to get your masks back. Was there another question?
Are you going to come back? Are you going to commentate for MKW again? We miss you, man.
I'm not too sure. Who's commentating now? It's like
it's all Chinese, everything I see. So I don't understand it. It's
you understand a bit.
I need you back.
Need me back for the comedy matches.
Yeah, definitely for the comedy matches. Chinese commentary on a comedy match doesn't add anything. Maybe it does to Chinese people, but not for me.
Well, you guys are a Chinese audience, so yeah, my Chinese is probably only slightly better than yours, like very slight.
Oh, man, you speak Mandarin and Cantonese?
I speak mostly Cantonese. Mandarin's just like a few words.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, pop the question back up again. Alan. Okay, so maybe this is the last question. Who do you think is going to win the greatest wrestling match ever this Sunday between Edge and Randy Orton?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Who do you think?
For me, Edge won last time, so maybe Orton, and then they'll have a rubber match. I don't know, typical wrestling booking.
You know what? I think no matter who wins, everybody wins because it's the greatest wrestling match ever.
The greatest
This is the greatest match.
Yeah, where does that song come from? That's a good song. Though.
Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman.
Oh, okay.
Great film. One of my favorites. I gotta get some. You asked me before where my spots come from. A lot of them come from movies, so maybe I can take some from The Greatest Showman.
Is that the Hugh Jackman movie?
Hugh Jackman, yeah. Zac Efron. Zendaya.
Yeah, that's good.
Amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
All right, Terry C. loves Voodoo. Heart.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, any more questions? We're wrapping up. There you go, hearts here. All right, thank you very much, everybody, for watching Chinese Wrestling Sit Down, and thank you, Voodoo, for being our guest this week. And
thanks, Al. Thanks for talking to me. It's been fun.
It's been a blast, and make sure you guys check out David Marquez on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. It'll probably be the 16th in Beijing time. I believe it's 10:30 a.m. All right, thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.